Hey guys, as promised, today I want to talk to you about Squarespace and why you shouldn't be using it if you love to blog. I'm going to be doing a little tutorial on the computer, kind of showing you Squarespace's customer support, their response to what I was asking, and why I ultimately decided to switch over to a different platform. So starting off, the main thing is Squarespace only broadcasts 20 of your latest blog posts. So there's a thing called your RSS feed. This is what gets broadcasted out to Google and things like that. So what Squarespace does is they're only broadcasting 20 of those. So Google could only grab onto about 20 of my blog posts, and I had about 165 of them. So I was missing out on about 140 posts that could be used for Google or SEO juice. This was extremely disappointing, and I didn't find it out until I had already decided to switch to a different platform. I've been using Squarespace for 5 years now, and I love Squarespace because it's easy interface, it's clean, it's sleek, but I love to blog, and I blog frequently, and this was a big changing and pivotal point for me and our business, as I wanted to be able to build up that SEO as much as possible. So the way I found this out was I had my friend Chris working on my website, and he was switching everything over to the new platform I was going to be using. And whenever he tried to search for certain blog posts to transfer them over, you're usually able to just put in the URL and then just bring it on over to that new platform. But whenever he did that, it was only grabbing 20 of them. So he realized, hey, why is this happening? And he reached out to Squarespace. So they're able to broadcast 300 podcasts if that's something that you do, but only 20 blog posts. So whenever he was trying to bring it over, he saw that only 20 of them were coming through, and he realized that whenever he searched some of the blog posts, even by name specific, they weren't even showing up in Google. Again, this was extremely disheartening, and something that I was thankful for that he had found, and I was even happier moving forward with the decision that I had made. So why Squarespace does this, no one really knows. It's either because they don't have enough storage to keep all of that information broadcasted for you, or they think only your top 20 are going to be most effective, or they possibly want to kind of handcuff your content in order to keep you from leaving their platform altogether. It made it a little bit harder. We did actually find a workaround, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit in this one. But if you look at our Pinterest video, you'll find that it was kind of the exact same thing. So what we had to do was go through and create tags for each date blocks by 20s. So there's 165 blog posts, so I had to make 8 tags, 20 blog posts included in each tag. So tag 1 was the first 20 blog posts I ever did, tag 2 was the next 20, and so on and so forth. And then he was able to put in the specific URL tags into the new platform and bring it on over. The platform I'm switching over to is called Duda, and Duda broadcasts like 2,000 or something infinite almost blog posts or any content that you want out there. So this is extremely beneficial. I'm excited to show you guys. Let's dive on in right now. Here we go. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to start here with where my friend Chris, who is developing our website and transferring it over to the new Duda platform, is taking care of everything. So whenever he was going through and trying to transfer over all of those blog posts, he ran into the problem of only 20 of them being broadcasted. And he said, we need to get the most SEO juice possible, so can you please help us activate that content on all of it? So first thing to note is it's 20 random blog posts whenever Squarespace says it's your 20 latest. So that was kind of confusing why they chose a random 20. All right, so this is the answer she gave. Have you looked at this? This is how to use our RSS feeds on Squarespace. So that links to this. And it pulls you up telling you right away that Squarespace RSS feeds pull only the 20 most recent items on blog posts or products or events, but the 300 most recent podcast. So if you're using for podcast, it might be all right platform for you. And if you scroll all the way down on this page, you'll find a section where it says, some blog posts aren't appearing in my RSS feed or RSS reader. And they say RSS feeds on Squarespace only pull the 20 most recent blog posts, which again, we saw it was 20 random ones, not the 20 most recent. Why that is, I have no idea. And it says, since RSS is designed to serve recently published content from a site, this limit avoids overwhelming readers with a full archive of posts. So that's Squarespace's reason for only pulling 20 of them, is they don't want to overwhelm readers with all of it. But there's probably other reasons, like I said, either to handcuff your content so it's harder for you to transfer over to a new platform, or because they don't want to store it all for you. But this really affects your SEO and Google juice, as my friend Chris was saying. So Chris responded, yes, I looked at that. I heard from a fellow Squarespace customer that you were able to open the blog post number to 300, which is similar to their podcast, which is what we need to do in order to link our site to the applications we need to broadcast our feed. And then she came back with this email. She spoke with a colleague and she said we can only troubleshoot Apple Podcasts. Any other service is out of scope. So to be able to transfer to a new platform like Duda or WordPress or wherever you want to go to, that is out of their scope, they're saying. So then she shared this article just going over the podcast. So it's really not that helpful for us. We reached out to Squarespace. This was Squarespace's response. So at this point, we were left with having to try and manually transfer over about 145 blog posts. So I could either reblog all of them, in which case they wouldn't be the original date that Google had crawled them, or the developer would have to manually transfer each and every one. Both would have taken crazy amounts of time. I mean, I think I added it up. I had about 1,000 hours put into all of that blogging, between the writing, between the blog stomping the images, between uploading the images and publishing them and all that stuff, about 1,000 hours. So a lot of time. So if you looked at or you've seen our Pinterest video, that's where I actually found out how to make this happen, where I could bring all of my blog posts over. Because what I was doing is I was trying to connect my blog to my Pinterest so that way I could have separate boards for each of my categories that was on my blog. And so I found a Squarespace article that would tell you your format for your connection of your blog post to your Pinterest. Okay? And this is the article that I found. So first off, it's just telling you what an RSS feed is. It's an XML file that contains your newest content. Basically that meaning this is what gets broadcasted out into the world. And it says news aggregators, feed readers, email subscriptions, podcast lists, etc. all pull from RSS feeds. The other thing to note, the biggest thing, is feed readers. So this is what Google uses whenever you have Google crawl your site. So you should be doing that fairly regularly so that way Google knows, hey, this content, this page has been updated. So we had done that several times. And so now that's why there was 20 random blog posts that were crawled by Google. So Google sends a little bot that reads your feed and it pulls out the information that's there. But since Squarespace was only broadcasting 20 of them, Google's bot could only read 20 of them, in which case it was saying this blog has 20 blog posts, rather than it saying this blog has 165 blog posts. So only 20 of them were going to show up in Google because that's all that Squarespace was broadcasting to the bots to crawl. Does that make sense? So this is kind of where we found the workaround. So if you scroll down here, what they're telling you to do is locate your page. So that would be blog. So for us, it'd be risarenee.com/blog. And they're saying if you want to find the RSS for that, you would do risarenee.com/blog $format $RSS. So if you would put that in for us, it would pull up just those 20 because that's all Squarespace is going to broadcast, is only 20 of them. But then this is what I found out for Pinterest, is I could add categories or tags. So I have about 55 weddings blogged on there. So if I put in the category of wedding, it would look like this: risarenee.com/blog / category = weddings & format = RSS. And that would broadcast my weddings to my weddings Pinterest board. And whenever I did that, guess what happened? It pulled up only 20 of them, not all 55 of them, because it's only going to broadcast 20 of whatever RSS you type in. So if you try to do the whole blog, which is what Google was trying to crawl, it only pulled 20 random ones from our blog. It didn't pull out every single blog post because it was simply crawling risarenee.com /blog / format = RSS versus crawling specific categories. So I still had a problem. I had more content because I had 20 weddings on my Pinterest board, and I had 20 couples, and I had 20 families, and I had 20 from my personal life. That means there was still about 85 missing, right? So then what me and my friend Chris figured out to do for my website is, if we put a tag in for each of them by date, then maybe it'll broadcast those 20. So what we did is we created a tag URL for each section of 20 blog posts by date to be able to be transferred over. So what I mean by that is this. So you go over to our website, and we go to our blog here, okay? So if I go all the way back to the very beginning of this blog, as you can see, there's a lot of content. So our first blog was January 1st, 2015. So there was 5 years of content on here, 165 blog posts, but Google was only grabbing 20 of them. So what we did was this. I went in and edited each blog post 20 at a time. So these first 20 got the tag. See how you can add tags here? I put the tag 1 for them. So this blog post got tagged 1 along with the next 19. And then the next group of 20 got the tag 2. And the next group of 20 got the tag 3. And so on up until 8, because that was 160 blog posts, 8 times 20. So then you go back here to the Squarespace help. What you do, risarenee.com /blog / tag = 1 ampersand format = RSS. And we broadcasted that and we put it into Duda's transferring over, and it brought over those first 20 blog posts. So then we did it again. Tag = 2 ampersand format = RSS, and it brought them over. So we did that in 8 different tags, and I had all 160 of my blog posts brought over. This was phenomenal because now Duda is going to broadcast all 165 of them. Whenever Google goes to crawl my site, it won't just be finding 20 of them. It'll be finding 165 of them. And again, the reason this is so huge is because Google sees that this site has been around for 5 years. This company has been blogging for 5 years. They have credibility. They've been using their blog frequently. So that's going to make you go up higher in the Google rankings because you've been around longer, you're using it frequently, you're following the specifics of SEO, which is name your content correctly so that whenever people find it, they stay around. But Squarespace was only allowing them to crawl 20 blog posts because that's all it was broadcasting. So the main thing was to get this transferred to a different site so that I could broadcast all 165 blog posts, because Squarespace was never going to be able to do that for me. It didn't matter if I put in these specific URLs. That means nothing to Squarespace. This was simply just helpful in transferring my current blog post to my new website through Duda, and also transferring each of my blog posts from here onto my Pinterest boards. So I had to transfer them over the same way here. And then what I did is I recategorized them. If you guys have any questions about this, be sure to leave a comment below. I'll answer them. I'm also going to be linking my new website onto here whenever it's done. I'm going to link to my friend Chris, an amazing web developer and SEO guy. He's worked with Facebook and Google for a long time, and he is going to be changing my business now because of this. So I'm going to link you to his business. So if you want to reach out to him and get his help, I would highly recommend it. If you want a new site, he can develop that for you. And if you want to jump up in SEO, he can help you with that. And even if you want advertising to get some business driving to your site, he'll hook you up. This is why if you want to blog and be serious about blogging, you need to get off of Squarespace. It is not helping at all. If I was to have Google recrawl my site, it would only grab these latest 20 per what Squarespace says. I don't know why there's currently a random 20 and not the latest 20, but it seems that they're not really doing what they should be doing. So I'm excited to leave Squarespace, and I hope that you guys found this video helpful. I know it was a lot of information. I know that SEO can be very difficult, but I know whenever you're choosing a web platform, it's extremely crucial that it works for you the way you want it to work. So Squarespace still might be the thing for you, but it might not be. So make sure you do your research and you understand the benefits and weaknesses of each platform. Those being Squarespace or WordPress or Duda or Wix or whatever it is that you decide to use. Okay, I'm going to show you on a whiteboard here kind of how it works. A little bit different way for visually seeing what Squarespace is doing, what RSS feeds are, and so forth. So you have reeseandrenee.com, right? And under that we have 165 blog posts. Google comes over and sends a little robot, right? And he's gonna crawl reeseandrenee.com looking for updated content, what's changed, old content, and just sifting through and what's all available for people whenever they're searching on Google for wedding photographers or family photographers or couple photographers, proposals, etc., right? But they are not finding this 165. They're not finding that. Instead, what they are finding is Squarespace taking my 165 blog posts and only broadcasting 20 of them. So now Google comes over and it says, oh cool, I've found 20 blog posts. The bot brings that information back to Google, and then that's what Google is going to put on its search results, what the bot turned up. So that's why Squarespace is not good to use if you like to blog, because Google should be finding this, the 165 blog post, not only 20 blog posts. So again, what we did is we broke it down by tags, starting with our latest dates, the latest 20 blog posts, got the tag 1, and then the next 20 got the tag 2. And so whenever I transferred that data over to my new website platform with Duda through my friend Chris, it looked like this: www.reeseandrenee.com /blog / tag equals 1 ampersand format equals RSS. So this specific URL ending to the Reese and Renee website allowed Squarespace to broadcast my first ever 20 blog post. Dude crawled it and Dude found it, and now they're going to broadcast all 20 of those plus my next 165 on top of it. So you do the same thing for tag number 2. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. I hope it was insightful for you. Whether you're just starting out and you're trying to decide which platform you want to use, or if you're currently using Squarespace and you like to blog a lot, hopefully this was helpful to you and can give you insight moving forward. Like I said at the beginning, I loved using Squarespace. I thought it was an amazing, clean, easy to use platform. But at this point, where we're at in our business, 7 years in, it just makes sense to switch over to a different platform that can handle all the blogging that we want to do. So Squarespace might still be the site for you if you're not planning on blogging that much and you just want to have a portfolio to kind of show people, depending on how many pages that you want to have. But if you want to blog, seriously consider not using Squarespace. This is something that I cannot recommend highly enough. Thank you guys for being here. If you like this video and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button below and be sure to ring the bell so you get notified every Wednesday whenever we release a new video. If you have questions, be sure to leave a comment and I can answer that through another video or in the comments section directly. Otherwise, I'm going to be starting a new series on HoneyBook and the amazing client relations management system that it is, and how much it saved me in time and money.